Hello. I wanted to record this for parents that were unable to attend back to school night. So I'm just going to go over some of the things that we discussed that we talked about at back to school night. The first thing we talked about is kind of the system of rules that governs our class. Um, a few years ago, I read a book called Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire, and I really liked the book a lot. And the teacher who wrote the book had a level system in his classroom, and so I have copied his level system. Um, the first level is I don't want to get in trouble. That is the most basic level of behavior. It's the level that we have when we are driving, right? You drive the speed limit. Sometimes, if you're not driving the speed limit and you see a highway patrolman, you slow down because you want to follow. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get that ticket. So that's the most low basic form of motivation. Level two is I want a reward. A lot of adults and children operate with that as their motivation, right? I do something because I want to get some sort of treat or reward. An example of that would be we have a times table pizza party that we have after people pass off their times tables. It's okay to want to do things because of rewards, but it's not a higher level of motivation. Um, Although I do offer that for the kids, because a lot of kids are at level two, and they like rewards, it's not something that we want to work towards. Level three is I want to please someone. A lot of children operate at level three. They want to please you because you're important to them. They want to please me because I'm their teacher. And that's fine for starters, but that's also a lower level of motivation. Level four is I follow the rules. And so level four is the level that we want kids to at least be starting at, that they follow the rules that have been set up by the school, or they follow the rules that have been set up by society. Level five is I am considerate of other people. That's a level that we really want to work towards, with children being considerate of each other and considerate of me and considerate of you and of their siblings. And the last level, the highest level of behavior, is level six. And level six behavior is I have a personal code and I live by it. I have a personal code of behavior and I live by it. There are lots of good examples of level six behavior in our world. And now is particularly a time in our country, especially, that level six behavior is really important. So during the year, what I like to do is we talk about this throughout the year. When we're reading books in reading, when we're learning in social studies about history, we talk about characters in books. What level are they at? How are they behaving? When do they show those characteristics? Or when we're learning about people in history, one of my favorite people, because he's just was kind of a terrible person, was a man named Samuel Brannan, and he lived during the gold rush. We talk about him quite a bit. And he was not a nice person. He did a lot of really not nice things during the gold rush. And so as we talk about people and as we learn about people, we learn about, or we discuss, their motivations and their behavior. There's a read aloud that I do every year, and it's a book called The Watsons Go to Birmingham, and there are two main characters in the book, and one character goes from being a really awesome level five, level six person to being a level one person. And the other character goes from being kind of a troublemaker, difficult character to becoming a level six character. So the levels are not consistent and they change, and you probably notice your behavior changing too. Um, but we really want to kind of talk about behavior and have that be a part of what we're learning, as far as social skills go, throughout the year. The second thing we talked about on the agenda was that students who create problems for themselves are expected to fix the problems. I used to have a sign in my classroom that said, saying you're sorry doesn't fix the problem. And so, if it's same thing with online education, right? If you're causing a problem, we'll figure out how to fix that problem. The third thing on the agenda was that all assignments will be posted online. They will be posted on the Google Classroom page. I have tried to link up all the parents to Google Classroom. If your email was not correctly listed in the school records, then you probably didn't get invited to link up with Google Classroom. So you might want to make sure that I have your correct email and that I can figure out that way I can link you up to Google Classroom. So all assignments will be posted on there for the students. They are already all linked in and able to go into Google Classroom. Um, I will post the assignments on Sunday night. Sunday's my lesson planning day, so I will have all the assignments posted for the students. They will be weekly assignments. They're posted each Sunday. I divide up the work into days. So Monday we'll have a little bundle of assignments. Tuesday we'll have a bundle, and the bundles are fairly evenly spaced with the amount of work. If your child doesn't finish them on the day that it's given or the day that the bundle says, that's fine. If they want to do all the work on 2 days instead of on 5 days, that's fine too. That's totally up to you. I would like to be respectful of due dates for each week, though, because our reading program and our math program are set by the week, and so I want to kind of follow that. Um, so please make sure I have your correct email. Every Sunday, the assignments will be posted. Also, I send out a Sunday newsletter, and so you will receive that through email. It will be posted to you so that you will know what all the assignments are, and you will know what is due and what your students should be working on. So I'm addressing the kids on the classroom, and I'll send you the newsletter so that everyone knows what's going on. Um, Students will really need to follow the directions on the Google Classroom page for turning in assignments. It's a little bit finicky. Hopefully, they've redesigned it and gotten some feedback from teachers because it's a little bit finicky and picky on how to turn in work. And we struggled a little bit last year. But I will help the kids figure it out, and I will write the directions for them over and over and over and over again. There were still 2 kids at the end of the year last year that really struggled with turning things into the Google Classroom gradebook, and I continuously help them, through remember how to do it the entire year. So it is a little bit finicky, but we'll get everybody on board with doing that. That way, their work goes right into a grade book, and I can give them a grade and send it back to them. So basically, I'm grading their work, but there's no paper exchanged, and that's pretty handy because then we don't have to worry about germs and coronavirus papers. Um, the other thing that I wanted to tell you is that there will be video links that are on Google Classroom, and also there will be video links that are bundled by the week on my YouTube page. So I have a YouTube page called Karen Hansen Ceramics, and you can subscribe to it. And last year I set up assignments each week. There were math videos, read alouds, and so if you go to the YouTube page, you can see what's on there. Also, I link all the assignments from Google Classroom to that YouTube page. YouTube's a platform for storing video footage, and so it's one of the easiest ways to store big, huge, long videos. So we just use that page. And again, it's called Karen Hansen Ceramics. The other thing to tell you is that the school has purchased RazKids and also IXL. These are programs that are especially devoted to filling gaps or holes that students have in certain areas. Raz Kids is specifically designed for reading. Lower grades have used it for a long time. Luckily, Alicia bought the site license for fourth grade, so we're going to be able to tie into it too. Once I know your student's reading level, I will start assigning work from Raz Kids. And IXL is a program that covers both math and reading. It builds a profile. Your student will take a combination test that has reading and math mixed together. It will probably take a while for your student to build a profile, and so that the computer, the IXL program, knows exactly what holes need to be filled, what knowledge your student's missing. Maybe they missed out on something in math at the end of last year. Maybe they missed out on something in math back in second grade or first grade. And it will help them to get up to speed and to be on grade level. That being said, it looks like it also is a program that can provide challenge. So if your student is doing work that's above grade level, then it builds that profile and it will give them challenge work that they probably won't receive as much of in class. That being said, though, our math program is fairly challenging in fourth grade for most students. I've always have students that are above they test above seventh grade level and on the STAR test in math, and the math program that we have definitely provides challenge for even those students that are really strong at math. So but IXL and Raz Kids will probably be assigned on Fridays for students to log into. We'll worry about that probably in a couple of weeks once we figure out their levels, once we take the STAR test and figure out all of the levels that they're at. Students will need to read for 30 minutes each night. Once I get the STAR test results, what I like to do is have lunchtime book clubs with kids. For years, I've had small groups of kids, 5 or 6 kids. They read, they're assigned a book that's on their level, or they pick a book that's on their level, and then they read it at home. And then we meet and we have popcorn and we discuss. I ask them some questions. I read the book too. I read all the books too. And then I ask them some questions and we discuss the books that we've read in a friendly book club kind of format. It's really fun. It's great for kids that are kind of quiet because it's a small group that meets and we talk about books together. And it also really builds the idea that kids are readers into students. And so we will be doing that still. There won't be popcorn, but as soon as I get your students' reading level after we take the STAR test, I have packets of books. They are clean. They've been in the classroom without being used for, I don't know, since we haven't used them since March. So they're pretty much sanitized. They're clean. And so what we'll do is once we find out levels, we'll distribute books. Last year I left them out on my porch and people came and picked them up. Since school is open, we'll maybe have some sort of pick up or drop off so that your student can pick up his or her book. Again, the book is read at home independently, so that can be used for their 30 minutes of reading. And then we will meet on Fridays in our small groups to discuss the books. And then as soon as we're done with the book, we'll get new books. It usually takes about 4 weeks for us to complete that process. So we'll be planning to do that on Fridays. The other thing on the agenda was passing off times tables. Your student is required to pass off from 0 to 12, and I plan to do that online as well. We had a little bit of a hard time in the springtime doing that because the cards were locked in the classroom, and so now the classroom's open, and so each student is going to have a new pass-off card, and we will work on that on Fridays. That's a one-on-one teacher-student activity, and so that will be one of the things that we do on Friday. I will be sitting down with your student on Zoom and passing off whatever times tables we can pass off, so that we make sure that they're prepared for fifth and sixth grade. If you don't know your times tables, maths really becomes difficult as a fifth grader, and actually, it's really difficult as a fourth grader too. So we're gonna really work on that this year. The last or two things on the agenda. Um, One of the things about all of this virtual learning is that it's really hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for your student. It's hard for you. It's hard for your spouse. It's hard for other siblings in your family. We know that it's all difficult for all of us. And so we're going to be patient. I make a lot of mistakes. Kids in my class will always tell you that we have a day called Mistake Monday because I make the most mistakes at the beginning of the week. And so we're going to be patient with each other. You're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. Kids are going to make mistakes. And I think it's really important to say, hey, we're working on it and we'll get there. And to be kind and patient with each other. And I know last year we had a super high frustration level because it was kind of an emergency. And I know this is an inconvenience. I know it's difficult, but also I want you to know that I'm in it to win it. And so if there's anything that I can do to help to make it easier for you or for your family, I'm happy to do that. And I just this exact same thing I felt last year, like parents were so supportive of me. We'd drop things off on my porch, and I'd go out on my porch and I'd find like little snacks, or I'd find lunch out on my porch. It was unbelievable. And so I hope that we can have that sort of understanding with each other that this is hard for everybody and we're going to get through it. And we're also going to have a positive attitude about it, because if you have a negative attitude about it, it just makes it worse. So, if your child's really struggling and having a difficult time, we're going to do our best to help and make it easier for everybody. You can always reach me by email, and just let me know if there's any concerns or problems that you have. And also, students totally feel free to. Last year, I had kids that were talking to me freely about the difficulty of this. And hopefully, once your children get to know me a little bit better, they'll be able to confide that and we can talk each other through it and talk each other off the ledge. The last thing I wanted to tell you is that I have a really high bar for students. We're fourth grade is a bridge. Your student is crossing over from being a little to being an upper grader, and I kind of hold the bar really high because I know I've taught fifth grade and sixth grade before, and I know how difficult those grades are. And so our push is to get your child ready for that. If your child is struggling with, oops, the lights just went off. If your child is struggling with reading, it's really important that we get your child on board with reading, because next year, instead of learning to read, they're going to be reading to learn. And so fourth grade's a really crucial year for having kids be on grade level with reading and math, so that they're prepared to do all of the difficult things that are going to be expected of them in fifth grade and sixth grade. And so I hold the bar really high because I know what's at stake. I hold the bar high for myself. I work really hard. I give 100%. And that's kind of what I expect of kids as well, that kids give 100%. And I'm never disappointed. There's always kids that dazzle me with what they accomplish and what they do. You would think I would, you know, be kind of judgmental if I'm expecting so much, but I'm always pleasantly surprised that kids give even more than is expected of them. And it's always pretty wonderful. If you hold the bar high, you're always amazed at what you see kids doing. Kids do remarkable things. And so I want you to know that I'm going to try my best, and I want your students to know that that's my expectation for them, is that they're going to try their hardest too. And most kids do. Almost all the time I see kids do amazing things. So I'm excited for this year. I hope that you're excited. I know it's a little nerve-wracking. I know that it's hard working with your kid at home. I'm hoping that what we do is start a bit of a hybrid model now so that if we transition into the hybrid model as the year goes on, it'll be easier for your child. And what I mean by that is that there's going to be filmed lessons for your children to look at, so you're not having to teach your children how to do a math concept. They will have a lesson that's filmed that I'm teaching, and it's not going to be me live, but it will be a lesson. And they can watch it over and over and over again until they understand, right? So that's kind of also the benefit of filming lessons, is that you can watch them over and over. You can stop and pause them. So we'll do a bit of live teaching on Zoom. We'll do a bit of filmed lessons, so that kids can watch them at their own leisure, at their own in their own time to complete work. And we'll try our best. If there's anything that you have a concern with or that you need, please feel free to email me. That's what I'm here for. It's my job. And I want to help you, and I want to make this easier for you, because I know it is not easy. I also know that it's difficult when you have when one spouse is at work and the other spouse is working with students, that's difficult. And so that's another reason why I want to record lessons, so that you're not having to do as much teaching. You can just do supervision. We're hoping that you're going to be more supervisory with students getting work done, so that it's a little bit easier on you. Um, anyway, I will end this and I'll send it to you. And if you weren't at back to school night, you are welcome to watch. And I will also send you the agenda as well. Thank you.